There are also other persons who are disqualified to enter into contracts. When they enter into contracts, the contract becomes void. No, the okay. So the previous one is insane, demented, illiterate, intoxicated, mistake, fraud. When these persons enter into contract, the contract is voidable. So meaning it is valid until declared by court to be void. So in here, if these persons will enter into a contract, the contract is not voidable but void. So it's written here, void. So who are these persons? Number one, those suffering from civil interdiction. So I already mentioned this one. When a person commits a crime and is found guilty and is imprisoned for more than 6 years. That's what you call persons suffering civil interdiction. Number two, hospitalized lepers. So persons who are treated for leprosy. It's a kind of a disease. This kind of disease, you are given, the person is given so many medications, and due to the medications, he can no longer have intelligence in deciding. His mind is not no longer sound. He's not of mental health. Number three, prodigals. So prodigals are those who are spendthrifts, walda sa kwarta. Prodigals. Compulsive buyers. Those who buy without thinking. Who buy things without thinking. Number four, deaf and dumb, who are unable to read and write. So this time around, the person is deaf, so cannot hear, and dumb, so cannot think, or doesn't have good mental decision making. So dumb. And not only that, he is also unable to read and write. So deaf and dumb are unable to read and write. So again, your answer here must be complete. If you only answer deaf and dumb, that's not correct. Because there are deaf and dumb who are able to read and write. So the fifth group who are disqualified to enter into contracts are those by reason of age, disease, weak mind, and other similar causes. Cannot without outside aid take care of themselves and manage their property. Becoming an easy prey for deceit and exploitation. So deceit is fraud. Dali na mailad. In this case, those example of these are those suffering from Down syndrome or autism, persons who are already sick, Alzheimer's disease, or those who are not of good mental soundness, unsound mind. Okay. Okay. So this time around, we'll talk about the second element of contract, which is object. So in a contract of sale, the object is the thing for sale. In a contract of rent, the object is to rent the house or to occupy the house. In a contract of carriage, the object is to deliver the passenger to the destination in the safest manner. So there are different kinds of objects in different kinds of contracts. No? So what should be an object in a contract? So these are the requisites. So number one, the object must be within the commerce of man, either existing or in potency, meaning there's a probability that it will exist, no? Or there's a potential that it will exist. So in potency, even though not existing as of this time, but it has a potential to exist. So what is an example of within the commerce of men? So I'll give you an example of not within the commerce of man. What is that? Public places, no? Like Cebu in Plaza Independencia. Can you sell Plaza Independencia for 5 pesos or 100 pesos? No, you cannot, because it is a property belonging to everybody. No? It belongs to the public. It is not owned by Cebu City, but it's owned by every one of us. So you cannot sell those public places like sidewalks, Mactan Bridge. What if I sell you Mactan Bridge for 1,000 pesos? Are you going to buy? No, simply not, because it is not within the commerce of men. So I can only sell my cell phone because it is within the commerce of men. It is not a public place. So that is an example of within the commerce of men. Number two, it should be licit. What do you mean by licit? It must be legal. It must be within the terms of the law or not contrary to law or good customs. So when you sell a piano, it is legal. But if you sell shabu, it is illegal. So it cannot be an object of a contract because it's illegal, shabu. Number three, it must be possible. So possible, so it's not physically impossible, so it should be doable. No? Number four, it is determinate as to its kind or determinable without need to enter into a new contract. So we know before what is determinate. It's the same as specific. It is identifiable by its identity, no? Meaning it's unique. If you say, I will sell you lot number 1 located in Bacalso, Cebu City, that's specific because there's only one lot number 1 in Bacalso, Cebu City, or lot number 2, lot number 3. But if you say, I'll sell you a property, a lot in Bacalso Avenue, so that is not determinate because there are plenty of lots in Bacalso Avenue. So it's generic object, so therefore it should be determinate. And number 5, it should be transmissible. So you can transmit or transfer this property to the new owner in case he will buy. These are the requisites. Don't forget. On the other hand, these are things enumerated here, the things which cannot be object of a contract. So I have said things which are outside the commerce of men are those which are public places like streets, roads, public plaza, bridges, sidewalks, and so on and so forth. Other two, intransmissible rights, like if you're given a special power of authority to sell a property or to claim or to file a case. So that kind of right is intransmissible. No? Number 3, future inheritance. except in cases expressly authorized by law. So when a person sells his future inheritance, the object there is not allowed by law. No? Why? Because his parents are still alive. No? Say, for example, Miss Juana here is still, her parents are still alive. Mama and Papa are still alive, and she wants to sell her inheritance to another person while her parents are still alive. So that cannot be, because she has no title over the property. Who owns the property are still her parents, and they're still alive. So future inheritance cannot be an object of a contract. Number 4, services which are contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. So, an example, say I'll give you 10,000 pesos if you will throw hand grenade in the middle of Plaza Independencia. So that kind of service is contrary to law or to public order or public policy, because you will create chaos and disorder. Number 5, objects which are of impossible things or services. So things which are impossible, like I'll sell you a stone from the moon. No? Can you get a stone from the moon? That's impossible. So this kind of things cannot be an object in a contract. Or services, impossible service cannot be object in a contract. Lastly, objects which are not possible of determination as to their kind. Okay. Now the third element of contract, so we have already discussed the 2 elements, namely consent and object. And now let's go to the third element, is cause. No? So this is the immediate, direct, and most proximate reason why parties enter into a contract. So this is the main reason why a party will enter into a contract. So there are requisites. It must exist, it must be true, and it must be licit or legal. So it's different from motive, because motive is purely personal or private reason. So if there is illegality, it does not invalidate a contract if in motive. But if the cause, if it is illegal, then it invalidates a contract.